they published an article and graded us.
This is a political organization giving you a grade at the Coronado Unified School District.
Yes, it's the right-wing person A, and then everybody else B, C, whatever. The one F grade was me. So I got an F, and I thought, wow, I must be doing pretty well if I've angered them enough to write an article and give me an F.
There's a comfortable idea on this island that our schools are our own business, that what is decided in Sacramento or Washington or some other state school board fight, it doesn't really reach our little district on a sandbar. And I want to spend today on why that is not true and what's actually coming at Coronado's classrooms right now from the other side of the bridge. I'm Laura Wilkinson Sinton. This is Coronado is Not an Island, the Coronado Democratic Club's podcast about local stories that connect us to the rest of the country. To talk this one through, I'm asking someone who sits where those decisions land. Mal Sandie is a trustee on our school board, a Navy veteran, and a dad who put 4 kids through our Coronado schools. He's seen up close how a federal funding freeze or a Sacramento budget shortfall turns into a real choice about a real classroom. So we'll get into the money, the mandates, and the fight over public education, and what a town like this one can actually do about it. Mal Sandie. Let's get into it. Mal, welcome to the podcast.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So a little background. You obviously went to the Naval Academy.
I did, yes.
How did you wind up at the Navy Academy, and how did you wind up in Coronado?
So I mostly grew up, I was born originally in Dublin, Ireland. My mother was Irish, and my father was a professor, assistant professor, associate professor for University of California at Irvine. Mm-hmm. So his job was taking him to do research in Johannesburg, South Africa. So my mom was pregnant with me and was not, she wanted to deliver me at home and not in this new country. So she stopped on her way to South Africa. She stopped in Ireland at home and gave birth to me. And then after a few months, we made our way down to Johannesburg, where I lived for 4 years in Apartheid, South Africa.
Wow. I bet that was an interesting experience.
Yes.
And you remember it?
A little bit. And then the stories that my parents told me. So that's
sure.
Fascinating.
That's how a lot of memories live. How did you wind up in Coronado?
So the Navy, graduated Naval Academy in 1990, grew up in the Bay Area in a town called Los Altos, mostly went to Catholic schools, 4th grade through high school. And then Naval Academy wanted to be a Navy pilot. And so went sight unseen to the Naval Academy, which I would not recommend to anyone. I have a son at West Point, and I said, you will visit it first. You will not just show up.
Correct.
Like I did.
It was a shock.
It was a shock, and I was not quite prepared, but I did manage to muddle my way through. Flight school, then became a carrier-based helicopter pilot. So in my Navy career, 30 years, and then active after graduation. So I retired in 2020, 6 years ago. Moved a total of 14 times when I was in the Navy. So I've seen
That's
a lot
quite a
of
career.
Quite a lot of moves. And then
like where? Where did you live?
So I can name them all. Naval, Annapolis, Maryland, Pensacola, Florida, Corpus Christi, Texas, Milton, Florida, San Diego, Yokosuka, Japan, San Diego, Newport, Rhode Island, Norfolk, Virginia, Jacksonville, Florida, Memphis, Tennessee, San Diego, Norfolk, San Diego. 14.
That's a Navy career.
So I was always on aircraft carriers. So I was on the Lincoln when Mission Accomplished. I don't know if you remember that banner with George Bush flew out there. And I was on a collision at sea when the Lincoln and the Sacramento, its oiler, collided.
Oh, I remember that.
I was just getting into bed, into my rack, and it felt like 2 giant hands grabbed each end of the aircraft carrier and shook it side to side. And I thought we'd run aground, but we just collided with our supply ship. Sailed into the America's Cup yacht race. I don't know if you remember that, around 1995 in San Diego. So I was on that ship. I was down in the hangar bay. We were trying to get out of the fog to get the news representatives from it was called the McLaren-Lehrer News Hour, if you remember that.
I do.
They were on board, and the admiral wanted to get them back to shore. and we're stuck in a fog bank. So we kept kind of coming in and in and in the ship to try and get out of the fog, and boom, all of a sudden we're in the America's Cup yacht race. I remember seeing the Italian sailboats sail by the hangar, and I was looking out the hangar like, what are they doing right there? And later that day, that same Italian sailboat cracked in half and sank.
So you witnessed a lot of American history
Yes.
firsthand. What kind of helicopters did you fly?
I was H-60s, always it's a version of the Black Hawk, the Navy version of the Black Hawk. Some differences are we carry a lot more fuel because we don't have places to land. And then what else? We have some automatic features, like you cannot hover. Hovering is a visual thing, and if you're at night in a dark night, moonless, overcast, you have to have it automated. So we have some automated systems that the Black Hawk, the Army Black Hawk, does not have. I think the Air Force Black Hawk doesn't have it either. But yeah, so
as the Navy says, they have superior aircraft.
Yes.
My uncle was a helipilot. He was actually an experimental test pilot in the Navy.
Okay.
And taught at Patuxent for years. So,
yes. Yeah.
So I'm a little versed in that. So we go from helicopter pilot, officer, naval officer, retired in Coronado. Your wife works at the VA hospital, I understand.
Balboa Naval Medical Center.
Okay.
San Diego Naval Medical Center,
Sorry.
Balboa.
San Diego. Got
Yeah.
it. You have 4 sons who grew up in the Coronado schools, and you became a school board trustee. You decided to run for office based on what? Just
So, having moved so much in the military and with the 4 kids, we've seen many schools, many
I'll
school
bet you
districts.
have.
My oldest son, I don't know how many different schools he went to, but it was a lot. And then got to Coronado. Of course, loved Coronado. My goal when I first got to Annapolis, I thought, wow, I got to get back to California. How do I get back to California? And eventually we get back here, and I'm managing Little League. So I managed a Little League team, 3 of them actually, but on one of the teams, I had a parent who I thought was a little interesting, and turned out she was a member of the school board. And I thought, ooh.
interesting in what way?
Probably not some extremist views, like the make 1984 fiction again, and some right-wing stuff, very far right-wing stuff.
So extremist views.
Extremist.
And this is a Little League mom.
Yes.
And she's on the Coronado School Board?
She was on the Coronado School Board, and then I thought, wow, I don't know how that happened. And then she left. She moved to Texas. There were some issues with her on the school board, and they had basically what are tryouts. Instead of doing paying to conduct a new election, they just had us interview with the 4 school boards, or the remaining 4 school board members, and a group of us interviewed.
So this is to apply for the open position.
Those final 2 years. And they were going to
appoint it.
They were just going to appoint for those final 2 years.
Okay.
And then they ended up picking a guy named Bruce Shepard, who had been on the school board before. It was absolutely fantastic, brilliant guy. And I thought, had I known he was even trying out, I wouldn't have bothered. And but I just wanted to make sure a decent person tried out, and I figured I was decent enough. And then didn't get it. And then 2 years later, I was approached by a Democratic Club member, Brian Trottier, and said, hey, we want you to run for the regular school board election. So I said, okay. I really feel like, I'm not an outgoing person, not an extrovert, very, very much the opposite, but I have to do something. I have to help the community. I have no agenda. I have no ulterior motives other than to promote the school district's goals, which is preparing our children for higher education, careers, and society. And I think I can do that. And so I got elected. I won by 35 votes over some lady. I cannot remember her name, but I'm pretty sure she didn't live in Coronado, but as she had claimed. But so won by 35 votes. My first meeting was interesting because after the meeting, the We the Parents wrote one of the We the Parents.
We the Parents, the political organization that was actually it's part of the Project 2025 people.
Yes,
they started the We the Parents to tap into the difficulties and the challenges of COVID, because kids were on screens and they were at home and parents were frustrated and they wanted their kids back in school. And it was a nightmare time in our American history. So as I understand it, We the Parents tried to channel that anger and use it for political purposes, correct?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. We had just gone to the 4x4 too during that COVID period. So
and 4x4, for those who don't understand what that is.
So the traditional high school is you take 6 classes for a year. Then the next year you take 6 different classes.
Right.
The 4x4 is like the college semester system where you can take 4 classes one semester. Instead of being 45-minute classes, they're 90-minute classes. And then the next semester you take 4 different classes.
Okay. So they're more intense.
So you can do 8 classes in a year instead of 6.
Right.
Or if you don't want to do 4 classes for each 3-month period, you can just do 3, but it helps if you're taking sequentially based like math classes. So you can do a 3x3, but you can get way ahead in math, of which one of my kids did. He was he did the first 2 years of his high school in the traditional system, and then was there during COVID and during the transition to the 4x4, and he just really did a 3x3. But he was able to leverage it to get way ahead in math, which he could not have done in a traditional system. So
is
it was
4x4
great.
Done in other school systems?
Absolutely,
Okay.
yes. Even schools in Texas and Florida are doing it. So it is the way to go. During our first school board meeting, there was a attempt by one of our new trustees we wanted to look at the 4x4, and I think it was an attempt to get rid of it, to go backwards. I see from the right, I always see these steps to go backwards. You see it at the national level, getting rid of, calling climate change a hoax and the green, and the Green New Scam.
It's
and
science.
All that. But it's always, they want to go backwards. And it was the same with the school district. Let's go backwards. And I fought that. We ended up doing a study on it. We had some groups from the community do studies on it and came back and reported and said, no, the 4x4 is great. So after my first meeting, the back to that story, back to the We the Parents, they published an article and graded us, gave us letter grades for our performance.
This is a political organization giving you a grade.
Yes.
At the Coronado Unified School District.
Yes.
Who were the people giving the grades? Was there any transparency there?
Yes. It was Dr. Deboree. I can't remember her last name. Her first name was Deboree. It's kind of interesting. She had tried out audition during that previous period when they were looking for a fill-in for the 2-year gap.
Sure.
But she gave us grades, and the right-wing person A, and then everybody else B, C, whatever. The one F grade was me. So I got an F. And I thought, wow, I must be doing pretty well if I've angered them enough to write an article and give me an F. So,
well, no one can argue that you're a patriot.
No.
And you defend public education. And you felt that it was under attack?
Absolutely. So Project 2025 outlines how they're going to attack public education, divert money away from it, make schools, privatize our schools. Donald Trump, during his first, I think it was in January, I'm pretty sure, wrote an executive order directing directing the government to find ways to divert money from public schools into faith-based schooling and other divert money away from public education. So it was under attack from the beginning. I went to a California School Board Association conference. We all went, and the whole school board and the superintendent and his executive assistant. And there was a panel of gubernatorial candidates that spoke. And one of them was Chad Bianco, I believe his name, the Riverside County Sheriff, who's from Utah originally. And one of the things he said was he supported a voucher system. And of the thousands of people there, everyone started to boo him on the stage, which I thought was great. Because the voucher system is one thing that the right is pushing for, and many states do it. Many states have this voucher system where if you send your child to a private school, the money that would have been spent on your to educate your child in a public school would then follow you to the private school. They give it to you to pay for your tuition. Well, what that effectively does is defunds the public
of course,
schools.
Because private schools don't have to accept a child with dyslexia. They don't have to accept a child who comes from a family that doesn't look like that. I mean, as obviously a graduate of parochial schools, you know the difference.
Absolutely. And it's a great point you make, because I think almost a quarter of our budget, a huge percentage of our budget, $15 million out of the almost $60 million budget, goes to special education. So we have a lot of children. We have to educate, public schools have to educate your child, no matter what level of disability they have. So we pay for many kids to be in full-time residential care in out-of-state specialty schools for these children. So that's very expensive, and we have to do that. These private schools do not, obviously. They don't have any of that. But so it's just a way to defund public education. And so we're under attack. We're constantly under attack by the far right. And I feel like I'm here to defend that.
And these aren't conservative values, because conservative values support public education. This is extremist views that are the Project 2025.
Yes.
To eliminate the Department of Education. And I understand that this administration has just moved disability funding from the Department of Education to Health and Human Services under Robert F. Kennedy Jr. What could possibly go wrong there? Now that we have measles outbreaks everywhere. But let's talk a little more on the state level, Prop 95, the shortfalls there, declining enrollment funding, and the changes that are happening in the Coronado school system now.
So I think it's Prop 98.
I think it was Prop 98.
Requires that 40% of property taxes go towards public education. So it's always a struggle with the state government balancing budgets and making sure we get our funding. And then there's an annual COLA, cost of living allowance increase for budgets for schools.
Right.
And it's always unclear of how much that's going to be. So we have to predict. So our financial officer has to do his budget, trying to predict what we're going to get. And it's not always clear. In fact, we were required to do our budget in mid-June and submit it and have it done, which we did, but it was based on our best guess because the state government hadn't finished theirs yet. They were supposed to, but they didn't. But it happens. And we're currently under what's called LCFF, local control funding formula, where our tax dollars, our city tax dollars, go to Sacramento, along with many other cities, get divided up.
They dole it out.
And we are very lucky, very fortunate in that after next school year, we're going to transition to basic aid, where all our tax money, instead of that tax money is not going to go to Sacramento, we just keep it. So we'll bring in roughly $10 million a year more than we are now.
That's based on property taxes in Coronado, which have very expensive houses. Although a lot of houses in Coronado have been owned for a long time and are protected by Proposition 13.
Yes.
So they have a much lower tax base. You'll have somebody who lives in a house paying $60,000 a year in property taxes, and the person next to them is paying, $1,000.
Yes.
Literally, it's that drastic a difference.
But then Prop 19, which happened in 2019, you used to be able to pass along that house at your parents' tax rate to the children.
Correct.
That changed with Prop 19. It's then reassessed. So when the children inherit a house, now they pay the actual taxes based on the actual value. I know a lot of people got around it by quick deeding, elderly people quick deeding their homes to grown children.
Quit deed claim,
Yeah, and although parents, my age, I'm not quick deeding my house to my 17-year-old. He might kick me out. So we should start seeing more property tax dollars coming towards the school.
And that will help the school. It'll
help. We've been deficit spending. We run a lot of amazing programs. One of the reasons I ran was I was always very impressed with our superintendent when he was a principal. I remember him as the principal of Coronado High School. I thought, this guy's pretty good. I had never met him in person, but I just was very impressed. And the things he has done and the principals and his staff and his teachers have done have been truly amazing. But to fund all that, we spent down our reserves. We had a lot of reserves, and we took out some loans. And this current budget for this year, $8 million we're spending out of our reserve. So our reserve will be down to nothing.
Right.
And then we'll have to start building that up when we go into basic aid and start self-funding. So we won't see this huge pot of money. We won't be suddenly super wealthy. We'll be able to maintain what we're doing and slowly improve and build up our reserves and get healthy. So,
and all 4 of your sons went to public schools.
So all 4, yes. So 3 graduated from Coronado High School, and 1 is one will be a Coronado High School senior.
So you have 4 that have gone through the Coronado
4, yes.
school systems. And you're a big believer in public education, which we love.
Yes. I'm a huge. I mean, the country is built on education, and I'm not focused on exams. I would like to see kids develop a love of learning, to be lifetime learners. I think that's much more important than how you did on the PSAT test in the 10th grade or whatever. So to be a lifelong learner, I think is just wonderful.
It's mastery of the subject, really, that's important. Although they go by final grades here and there, and colleges look at those kind of things. Although the whole college experience is going to be upended with AI. So how does that trickle down to the Coronado public schools with AI, with students using AI? Are we back to pen and paper? How does that work?
So we're looking very closely at that and how to integrate AI. I personally am not a fan of electronics and social media. And here we are doing a podcast.
Well,
but
you see the damage that can happen when kids spend too much time on their phones.
So I have one of my kids who's currently at home who just can't seem to put it down. And I've talked to Principal Molina about getting rid of, and some of the other principals. It's really a high school where it's the real issue, because they're the kids who all have phones and their own personal laptops. And the middle school, you can't have your personal laptop. You have to use the school issued. And Principal Falar has cracked down on that. I'm a bit draconian, having been taught by the nuns in the Naval Academy. I'm not as touchy-feely maybe as some other people, but I would like to see, and I've been pushing for, cell phones and personal computers to be out of the high school, so people can learn to actually communicate and talk to each other and not just stare at a phone. I know Principal Molina said, well, it's really only 20% of the kids who have a problem with it. 80% are doing great. And to me, I don't know where she gets the numbers from. She's really good. They're probably accurate. Her estimate is probably spot on. But 20% is still too much to me. I don't think we need to have these phones. And I know that there's some, cheating, those 20% cheating in class and using it to get out of actually doing schoolwork. So I would like us to keep a short leash on all that kind of stuff, especially, with AI, and they have AI glasses now. You could,
it's crazy.
I don't know if this is true. My son claims there was a kid in class who was wearing AI glasses, was able to look at the questions on the board and feed him the answers. I don't know. Is there a screen on the glasses? I don't know.
Well, it's part of the brain formation and critical thinking skills, which will, you have to have them. It's really hard to survive in this society without critical thinking skills.
Yes.
And the electronics are interfering.
Yeah.
And somebody's making money off those electronics, which is why they will continue to interfere. And we look to people like you to put up those, guardrails for our children. And
the electronics are designed to be addictive.
Of course they are.
Right? So that's another killer. And we had the e-game sports teams. They're big now. West Point has an e-game sports team. And it was proposed to do it at our middle school, to start a e-game team. And I was the only one against it. So we have an e-game sports team. I actually went out and watched the district office, San Diego School District office, has a building they purchased. It was a charter school that went under. It was a brand new building. They turned into their e-gaming center. And I went out and watched a tournament, e-gaming tournament at this center, San Diego County Office of Education. They're the ones who own it.
Sure.
And the kids seemed to love it, but the parents were just sitting around kind of stunned by it, that, the parents watching their kids play these games, and I these addictive games. So just not a fan. I would keep a very short leash on all this stuff if I have my way.
Sure. Hand-eye coordination can be found in other ways.
Yes.
And if there's a team, they should be doing sports as well as, that's more of a hobby. That's more like a chess club, a game club, and a team. But
the argument is, well, these kids don't have any other teams or clubs to be in. I don't know if that's true. I think there's so many clubs, so many activities they could participate in. I just don't know that playing some addictive video game is really kids getting together and communicating. I think it's just them playing a game, video game. Gives
them an outlet. So what do you see for the near-term future for Coronado schools, the big changes coming?
Well, I don't see a lot of big changes coming.
Good, because we don't do big change well.
Well, nobody likes big change, right? Yeah. When the 4x4 got implemented, that was a big change, and a lot of people fought against it. And I was very proud of Superintendent Mueller for doing it and for taking all the heat for it, and then for the school board back then for supporting him to do it.
Yeah.
I thought that was great. As far as big changes, and we have, when we go into basic aid, we'll be able to shrink our TK through 8th grade class sizes. We'll get a lot smaller.
Smaller class sizes in public education is terrific.
It'll be terrific. Then for the high school, in order to keep the high school to support, we have 14 career technical education programs, like computer science stuff, medical, all this, almost like majors that we have. And in order to support that, and the athletic teams and COSA, we can't let the high school population get tiny, because it's already shrinking. It's below 1,000 right now. So we'll take in interdistrict transfers for that. They won't bring money with them. It'll be funded by us, but it will enable us to keep this very robust educational program at the high school. The perfect number at our high school is actually around 1,200 kids.
And how many are there now?
That's the sweet spot. Just under 1,000, 990. Okay.
Let's finish off with some military families and how you support the students in military families. I know Silver Strand Elementary School is the highest percentage because it's in the naval housing.
Yes.
And what we do to support Navy families and military families with children in our public school system.
So about 30% of our kids are military kids.
That's substantial.
It's a lot. And they perform very well, which is interesting. So as far as any group goes, they are the top performing group. Why exactly, I don't know. The Silver Strand is actually owned by the military. That building, the facility down there, is owned by the Navy, and they released it to us, I think, for $1.
That's nice.
It's pretty nice. And beautiful place. Principal Jenny Moore down there. She used to be the principal of the high school. She went down there. She was our ASB president of Coronado High School when she was a student.
Oh, isn't that?
Before then, she had it off to Yale and then came back to us.
Aren't we fortunate?
No, we're very fortunate. That is one thing. That's another thing the superintendent has surrounded himself with really good people. And at our schools, it's a 2-year, you get a 2-year grace period for new teachers. And before the principal, you get to stay or go. And they have to make those hard decisions. They usually actually make them after 1 year.
Sure.
They say, okay, you're not a good fit here. We're going to bring somebody in. So they've really done a good job of filtering or weeding and getting the right teachers, right staff. So our schools are really, really doing quite well. The military kids, We have some programs to welcome them. Like at the beginning of, right before the school year starts, they hold a barbecue out by the school district on the field there to welcome all these kids, the new ones to the district. They
do that extremely well, by the way.
Yes.
When I moved from Northern California back to Coronado, my sons were in 6th and 4th grade here, and their welcoming was just, they had immediate friends. They had people sit with them at lunch. And then when we moved to Atlanta, it was a completely different experience. It fell off. There was nothing, it was very hard for them. So that's something the Coronado Unified School District does extremely well. And you have to credit the military families for helping establish that.
Yeah. So the military provides us with liaison people to help integrate our kids into the school. So we have a very robust process for bringing our kids, military kids into our schools. So, and it's great. I mean, as I said, 30% of them are military. So, and including mine.
And protecting protecting our school board and our school system, public school system in Coronado from these outside political influences that swing wildly. That's a big chore. So let me conclude by first thanking you for your service to our nation and your leadership there. And thank you for your service to our Coronado Unified School Board and your leadership there as a trustee. We're deeply appreciative of all you do for our community. And we love your kids and we love your wife too.
Okay.
So, thank you so
much.
Thank you so much, Laura. I appreciate it, Mal.
Yeah.
That was Mal Sandie walking us through what's coming at Coronado schools from the other side of the bridge. The money, the mandates, the fight over what public education is for and who it's for. It's for us. The point of the show is that none of that stops at the bridge and neither does our say in it. Mal Sandie has announced his re-election campaign for the Coronado Unified School District Governing Board. You can find out more about Mal Sandie and his policy positions at coronadodemocrats.com. So if you care about our schools, the most useful thing you can do is pay attention and show up at a school board meeting, at the foundations, budget hearing. It's a small district, and that means people who show up actually really matter and they listen. Coronado is not an island, and neither are you. We'll see you next time.